Moisar. And we're continuing to read on page 27 of Actual Fact called Qasas-huu. His story. All right. So 176. Avoid and keep away from them, for such black mudwawu devils are not serving Paa Taraq overseers, except for their own appetites. Refeeding the forces. All right. By smooth talk and offer of gifts with them and flattery, they deceive the akalat minds of young and naive Mukasu people from among Musbatu Sabians. On record, I never asked anyone to follow me. All right. That's why I read the scrolls word for word, because I'm also healing myself, and these scrolls are very helpful, and I need to read them anyway, so you can just read them together. All right. I point us towards Baabaa. All right. Because I'm not taking responsibility for having played with anybody's journey. I'm not doing that. All right. So 178. Everyone now has heard about Wu-sabat and your devotion to Baabaa Yaanun or Yaanun myself. So I am full of joy over you accepting what I came down to Mata Earth to warn and teach you to renew our story, not his story of Qadabat's lies. Yet Musbatu Sabians, I only want for you the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding, which leads to the right overstanding, which is sound right reasoning. Sound right reasoning. You have Nupu overpower Zupu. All right. So what does that even mean? Right? Right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding. All right. So before you can be truthful about the world around you, you have to be truthful with yourself first. All right. So your own experience. All right. To stand under something. Once you stand under something, you can now stand above objectively. All right. And look on. So when you say overstand. All right. So now you go to right overstanding. So now that you've done that already inside yourself, that truth inside yourself about who and what you are, now you can look at the world around you, all right, to which you stand over and encounter. And you have an objective around, well, all that's taking place around you as well, all right? And now you have Nupu overpower Zupu, all right? Or 9 ether overpower 6 ether, because it's not easy. All right. And that's why you don't take things away. You explain it away. And that's why we have charts, diagrams, explanations. All right. Because sometimes it's not enough just to say, oh, don't do that, because now it's in that person's habits. They have unnatural tendencies. And sometimes for you to get past it, when you start to see the effects and the explanations, let's say you're on drugs, it's not enough sometimes somebody just say, don't do drugs. Sometimes you have to understand the chemicals of drugs yourself, how things are put together. And that's sometimes when you get your wake-up call. All right. That's where you get the patience from. All right. And that I shook. And that's why I really thank Baabaa. I thank Baabaa for his patience, because I feel the love when he's explaining something. All right. And it really doesn't even matter what he's explaining, because I'm like, it takes love to do that, because you could explain or you could just condemn somebody. I'm like, wow, he found people in such states and he didn't just like look down on them. He actually explained, and that's raising somebody. All right. And either they catch on or sometimes they don't. But it takes patience to do that. So everyone has now heard of Wu-sabat, all right? Sound right reason. So you, 180, you know, Musbatu Sabians, that my inclination to you was not a failure, all right? Know that the inclination was not a failure. All right, so if Baba did his job, you don't need no successor. If Baba did his job, he has awakened you to who and what you are. You just plugged in, all right? And then if it's working in your life, Baba didn't fail. I had previously suffered and been insulted by those of Ibrahim's Zahamat's religions. As you know, I was slandered, lied on, yet with Nasar help of our Nadaru overseers, I dared, even while in prison, to tell you about Wu-sabat, Pasakam, the power of Nupu over Zupu, in spite of strong opposition. All right? In the elders' book, whenever anyone's doing that, you're going to come across opposition. Because these forces, they jump using our bodies and different things like that, all right? Even in yourself, that's why you take time, Baba always says, to respect, all right? And that's very important. It means to look, spect, means to look. And read means to do again, look again at yourself, all right? And you keep yourself in check, all right? 183, because what I came down to teach does not spring from faith and belief, right? What he came down to teach is not from faith and belief or other errors or impure motives, nor am I trying to trick you. Don't believe me, check it out. Check it all out. All right. So Bible's saying I didn't come here to trick you. I didn't come here just to sit on some throne over you just so I could be like, feed me grapes. All right. That's an impure motive. He came for the liberation of the hearts, souls, and minds of the people, the very bodies, with our double ankh, double resurrection of the minds and the bodies of the people. All right. And granted, you never heard of this before, so he's not asking you to believe him. All right. Because nature is on his side. Facts are on his side. Don't believe me, check it out. All right. Other people, they make it seem like when you ask a question, you're not a good, what did he say? Anybody who doesn't like to be questioned is a liar. All right. Now it's another thing to just want to question somebody to devalue them. But even trying to do that, you can't. Or if you really don't know, you go and you find out. All right. He's not asking you to have faith. All right. Or believe. All right. 184. It was my own Madatat's words to you. Don't believe me. Check it out. Do not accord believe me or any other who stands up to teach or preach. 185. Ask questions. Don't just sit and samur, listen. Seek pakakats, the facts, and it will find you. All right. That's why Baba has said that the best woman to have is one that asks questions. All right. That means the best woman to be is one that asks questions. And the women set the tone. So you should never be afraid to ask questions, man or woman. All right. If you don't know, all right, you better find out. And a lot of things that Baba talked about, I had no idea what he was talking about. So I went and researched it because I don't mistake what Baba knows for what I know. All right. Certain things I've confirmed through my own life. All right. I wouldn't have been able to confirm the breath book until I did it and I applied it to my life. Until then, it was nice words on paper that sounded good. All right. I'm like, I believe that. I no longer have to believe what I know. All right. Certain things I haven't confirmed. That's why I said in the beginning when we were talking about the Anunnaki, we just need more information on that. All right. Just lets you know there's more questions that we should be asking, not just sitting up there and accepting things and parroting it back, because that's not Wu-sabat. All right. So ask questions. Don't just sit and shamur. Listen. Seek pahakakats, the facts, and it will find you. 186. And concerning the returning of Paa Taraq, the overseers, as of 2003 AD, they came, and 2013 AD, and the return date and lift for all who were ready and chanting in the right tone at the right places at the right bakut time with the right ritual. All right. 2003 again, 2023 again. All right. We still wasn't ready because Baabaa said, as of now, our tones are still off. All right. And a lot of times people get, that's why I stopped, I don't chant with everybody anymore. Because I could feel sometimes people chant to outdo the other person. It's not really a chant from like, oh, this is all love. Let's get all in tune. Let's line our heart seats. Let's care and breathe about and feel for each other. No, it's like, I'm older, I've been around longer. This is how we do it. Or whatever the case is. Or my voice sounds better. Or I'm more important, more special. And you could feel it. All that's going to do is also activate the ego within the group. And now we're all off course. All right. And there's no room for our shook there. All right. So now we know why we missed the pickups. All right. So 187. And if all was gathered with Baabaa Yaanun, Kabat, that's the center with the three Sawatats voices in one, the exit would have occurred. Yet we, Murzaku Riskians, ask you, Musbatu Sabians, do not become easily unsettled by the failed lifts of 2003 and or 2013 and or 2023. We can add. So we know when the scroll was written. It was written before 2023. All right. So don't feel unsettled, all right? Don't be alarmed by who seeks without the Kadesh secret Rakuk knowledge. 189. Their reports or writings, their madatats, words, are those of one blinded by Za'amus, religious faith, in the Mesopotamian god deity, Zoroaster, taught as Ahursa Mazda, and Anunnaki, who taught Tammuz to teach Adamites Zaham religion of Narar fire, worship on earth, sun worship in the Patah sky, which became the Lord God of Mapa, heaven and earth, the light of the Tapal world, the eternal flame, bright one. All right. So you see the Sumerian deities, all right, and they just stop at the sun. All right. Fire worship. All right. But we know that light is actually younger than sound. Sound is older than light because sound gives birth to light. So they still keep you trapped in with a certain limit. All right. And even before sound, there's silence. All right. So now you're in the chaotic, blinding light. All right. And that is the same as the blinding light of, if you ever read The Art of War, when you go to war, you put your enemy, you put the sun behind you. All right. So you have the advantage, the one with the sun, and the one who's facing the light, the one who's looking towards the light has the disadvantage. All right. Because the light will blind them. And then you can more easily take them out. But if you have the sun behind you, all right, you're not looking towards the light. You're actually looking towards the darkness, and the light's behind you. All right. So that is the war of light. All right. So let's read that again. Their reports or writings, their madatats words, are those of one blinded by Zionist religious faith. In the Mesopotamian, the god deity Zoroaster, taught as Ahursa Mazda, and Anunnaki, who taught Tammuz to teach the Adamite Za'am religion of Narar fire worship on earth, sun worship in the Patat sky, which became the Lord God of Mapah, heaven and earth, the light of the Tapau world, the eternal flame, bright one. 190. Now this Za'am religion became those of Mosesism, Jesusism, and Mohammedism, and spread around the Tapau world as Judaism, Christianity, and Al-Islam, and many subdivisions, yet the same root. Each claim to have seen a bright Nawar light, a burning bush, or illuminated Mukwan being. In those days, the only lights were the Mashmash, or the sun, Maha, moon, and Narar, fire, and the Maha, moon, which is only a reflection of light of the Mashmash, sun. So, as you read what each claim is a Sawab truth, you see it leads you back to fire worship, Gadad give a God, or Gadad, who says you can't see me. All right, that goes back to the Art of War, which is a really good book. All right, by Sun Tzu. All right, so it goes back to the fire worship, the God who says you can't see me, because if you're facing the light and somebody looks into it and you're standing there, it will blind them. All right. So they lost the original scripture of each and only put their takak, faith, in Matatat's words. Mortals claim they believe of each version of men, or vision of men. All right. So they remembered the vision of men. All right. So you don't need to do that with Baba. He said, I never asked you to put faith in me. That's what he said. He says, I told you to go check it all out for a reason. All right. So they lost they each lost their original scripture, each and only put their takak, faith, madatat's words in mortal men. They remembered of each vision of men. No fact, no tathbutrat, confirmations, only blind akad, faith. We don't need blind akad. We don't just put this on because it looks pretty. All right. There's nothing supposed to be blind. All right. So no fact, no confirmation, only blind akad, faith. Don't let those blinded by bright lights blind you by white katabat's lies, and supposed to have come to you from us. All right. So as supposed to have come to you from us. All right. So you better be asking questions. All right. And that's why I started reading the scrolls, because even though a lot of people have been around for a long time, the kind of conversations that we be having, and people just being followers of each other. I said, one of my things I kept saying, stop following our followers. All right. Where's your mind? Where's your connection? All right. That's why we started reading, because that's a start. Reading is just a start. And then you start to go out and confirm, live, go see, apply. All right. Some things you'll know, because it's like, okay, this is common. Some things is common knowledge that you may have overlooked and said, oh, wow, I can't believe I overlooked it. Other things you may have never heard about. I hope that you're taking time, the things you never heard about, to go investigate the best you can. And some things will come out in time. All right. So know the difference between what you have confirmed and what you just keep in your back pocket so you get more information. All right. That's the difference between a fact and a belief. Right. So don't let those blinded by white light blind you by white katabat's lies, and supposed to have come to you from us. saying that the Muklas Savior has already come to you in human form. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way. All right? People who take Baaba's information twist it just a little bit, because it's either all right or it's not right at all. Because when you look at everybody's story, everybody has some elements of fact in it. But how they play with the facts, the relationship that they have people having to the facts, leaving things out, twisting up dates, all right? Grafting. The same way they grafted beans, they grafted stories, all right? And if they did a little bit, if they did a lot, all right? Don't let anyone deceive you in any way. And people would be really upset at you because you don't let them deceive you, because you're not just a puppet. Which Baba says that is one of the worst fates to have. To be a ghoul is to have one of the worst fates. And to be a ghoul is just to not have a mind of your own that works. So don't let anyone deceive you in any way. For that Zamut's day will not come until the Sawab truth is made plain for you to see. And you, Tahum, overstand yourself through clear teachings, tatbutats, that's confirmations and hakakats, facts, all right? So the day for each person seems very different, all right? So when that day that you confirm it, like I read the breath book maybe 15 years ago, it was just words. It was nice. Then I went to the next scroll. But the day came for me years later, because that's when the confirmations came years later, all right? And then I was like, wow, like there's a lot that I can appreciate that I may have overlooked, and it was like a lot that I didn't. Rahul Bat Zamal, Atum Ray.
Trash feeling around like this. He's feeling the same spot too.
Okay. All right. Okay. So your confirmation. Don't confuse what Baba knows with what you know. Are you taking time to know? All right. That's what Baba's here. All right. Now, and sometimes it's like you may hear something, and that genetic explosion doesn't go off for you right now. It's just not your time. But you'll have that puberty when it's time for you to have it. But you have that seed that's already planted. All right. So that date will come for you. All right. So let's read. So for that Zamut's day will not come until the Sawab truth is made plain for you to see, and you whom overstand yourself through clear teachings, tatbutat, confirmations, and hakakat, facts. 199. And the real Mudwal devil as a race is exposed for who and what they are and have been doing for the past 6,000 years on Mata earth to all others. This lawlessness is revealed. He whose Wakut's time has Yatur come and is doomed to destruction, he will oppose it, Pasawab the truth. He will exalt himself as the image of the god deity, pretend to be yours, as they use it, deity by whichever tongue you now claim. If Hebrew, he is Yahweh or Jah. If Greek, he is Theos. If Latin, he is Dios. If Arabic, he is Allah. If German, English, he is God, from German Gut. You will claim this of him, and he will claim this of himself. Others will use the same titles, yet he exists, yet claim he exists, yet does not exist. 205. He is seen, yet unseen. He is spirit, yet not a spirit. They are confused and blinded. Akadat's beliefs they cannot prove. And to some, he had a son, Jesus, or Jah, Zeus, or Jah, Zeus. For Israelites who mixed with the Romans to combine their deities. All right. So from the Yahweh or the Jah, and then you had the Greek Romans, all right, with their deity Zeus. All right. You got Jesus. All right. So the Roman Zeus or Jupiter was combined with the Hebrews Yahuwah or Yahweh, short as Jah or Jah, became Jesus, Yeshua. Zeus is pronounced as Zeus, as in Zupu. Zupu is 6 reason, and Satu Akak 6 ether, and the Murabu Arabs of the Quran took the title Jesus from the Greek Isios, and it became Isa or Isa. The exact same Greek and Roman Zeus, short for Zoroaster or zero. All right. Arabic sort of became cipher. Zoroaster, a star with the circle hollow for Lucifer, the bright one. Don't let them garshush deceive you with sweet-sounding Muratat's words from Misfahat, books they never read or saw the originals because they do not exist. The original Lahaj language of them is dead. 211. The Quran of Islamism called Jesus or Isa or Kalamatu, that's the word of God. Allah, Quran chapter 3 verses 45 reads, when the angel said, "O Mary, indeed Allah gives you good tidings of a word from him, whose name will be Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, distinguished in this world and the hereafter, and among those brought near, the word of Allah, the Bible, of Christians called Jesus, the Logos," John chapter 1 verses 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Logos or Tayof, ghost, a spirit who came up from beneath. In 1 Samuel chapter 28 verses 13, it reads, "And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth, and as they call Hades or below hell, or below or hell." All right. Old English as Helen. Helen means to hide. All right, in Old English. So he became an unseen god. They are all the same, only a play on Milsanat's tongues, Babel confusion, spelling, and the spell of Kingu, their kingsman. All right. So Baba gave you, that's why Baba has shown you the various forms. They just keep repackaging the same force back to you, right? Under whatever leader, whatever new face that they put. All right. Even this guy, well, not Billy Graham. All right. So even Billy Graham, this guy, all right, who repackaged it in such a way to make it seem like, oh, in 185 countries, that actually, no, it's not the black people who are cursed, it's actually the Caucasians that are cursed, which he had actually said, all right? But each way is still part of the same growth cycles and family, taking you right back to the same forces in a new package, all right? So if we need to make this package more female friendly, we need to make this package more user friendly, or whatever the case is, all right? We have to look at our crowd, all right? And how can you get them eating the same crap over and over? Just repackage it, all right? And then you have to be careful about when it's packaged in, because now everybody can see the Caucasoid from a mile away, so no one trusts them. So the new thing you need to be aware of is the package that looks like you. All right. No matter what form it comes in. All right. So let's see where we are. So he became an unseen God. They are all the same, only a play on musanats, tongues, babble, confusion, spellings, or the spell of Kingu, their kingsmen, their rakam. Number 6 related to 6 ether, mukwanu, beings. Chapter 6 of Genesis, the 6th day, in their creation story, and the 6,000 years given to them to rule or have Tardur, dominion. All right. So that ended as of the year 2000. We're in the hereafter doctrine. All right. And before then, Baba said, I can't give you what you want, which was their brand of stuff, until you can learn to have what I have to give you. Because he said that when he originally came with this information over here, that we weren't interested. We wanted to know about Muhammad. We wanted to know about Jesus. We didn't want to know about actual facts right at the time. So we had to grow into it. Right. Now it's time. So all that what people talk about what they were doing, all right, when Bob was out on the land, all right, it was still a brand of some type of compromise. The compromises are being removed now. So all that is irrelevant. All right. In a sense of that's not really what he came to give. But he did manage to put jewels, because no matter what scroll that I've read from Baba, there's been so many ways of healing. Like I do like the Holy Tablets. And there's been so many helpful things. Same way I can listen to a Christian sermon at times and get helpful things, because there's always going to be some jewels hidden in there. But now you took all the cumbersome parts out, all right? And we can get straight without the chasers, all right? So the Roman number 6 equals Satu, all right? VI as in Viking. So when you put it with king, you get it means kin, as in like the brothers, right? That's my kin, all right? The race related to Salalu races. You get the Vikings, all right? The 6 races or the 6 kins, the 6 kings. 6 spells of Kingu in Revelations chapter 6 about 7 seals being opened. All right. Listen to that. The 6 spells of Kingu. It's still all the spell of Kingu. All right. And then you see it further branching out. So you get 1 spell, becoming 6 spells, becoming hundreds of spells. All right. It's all the same kin though. You're still dealing with the same family. That's not your own. So these 6 kings or the kingsmen were of 3 Sha'abu tribes, born of 3 giant ape men, transported to Mata earth from Masbat Sabat Najam Sirius star system. All right. The 3 cults being Celtics, and Celtics. All right. So now people get a little confused. Remember this, you have a Sirius star system. That's a really big star system. It's not just a planet. There's many things happening for various reasons. So now we know we have even more questions to ask. Okay, you got Sirius star system, Sirius A, Sirius B, which are different stars. You have planets around, what's going on in each planet. All right. So the 3 cults became Celtics with the S, Celtics with a K, and Celtics with a C. And it became 6 clansmen or kinsmen, being the Irish, Polish, Welsh, Scottish, British, Germanic, that's the children of the Nordics. Mukradu, children of Palladians, servants of Mutnanu, Draconian reptilians. Right? The Palladians served the Draconians. And the Draconians and the Palladians are both are in their blood. All right. So these are the seeds of Adam, the pale race, the leper of German man. He is a marat disease to all others by fatar nature, and seeks to rule and control or katal kill Whoever will not worship his Shabbat image and offer their Baal soul to him and his. This is his story. All right, history. Matthew chapter 16, verses 26. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or, or what should a man give in exchange for his soul? Lose their Bahu soul. Beware of him. He has in his DNA the dayar, desire to go ahead of everything. He has to be a leader or a captain or a mudnan judge or a mulkan teacher or be the star in a sanam cinema. He must sit at the head even as a judge or any kind of contest or coach in any kind or sport or game from the smallest anything. So now you see where people wanting to be a successor comes from. Why can't we all just work together? All right. Why you have to be in charge? Why can't it just be us doing it and we all playing our part? All right. That's from that nature. All right. And it's so funny because it's like, man, Baba has said there's certain things that really rings in my mind. Baba said it's the women that'll free me. He didn't say it was a woman that was gonna free me. He said it's the women. All right. So, but it's so funny how so many are saying it's me, or I'm the one who was doing this. I'm the one, or I'm his this, and in reality, that doesn't matter, you know, because everybody has their strong points. And everyone, like Baba said, his purpose is tied up in all of our purposes. So then our purposes are tied up in each other if we're really thinking logically. All right. But we lost that reason, no reasonability, because of why we still possessed. All right. So he must sit at the head as a judge or any kind of contest or being like, even the way people think that I am, that they projecting themselves onto me. All right. I never called anyone my follower. Now, some people are followers. I can't help that. But I never said that this is my follower. All right. And social media made us like train ourselves and made us have that look at me syndrome. All right. Because somebody was telling me they didn't like something that somebody who reads a scroll does with me and said, oh, you had your follower doing something. I'm like, I didn't have my follower doing anything because number one, I didn't even know I have followers. Number two, I'm not about controlling other people. That person, that's between you and that person. All right. So he must sit at the head, even as a judge, or any kind of contest or coach in any kind of sport or game, from the smallest of anything. He must tell others what to do, be in charge, any kind of way, be it real or fabricated. He must have a uniform of any kind of authority. He must be a boss or order others. This is a disease of the pale race, to tell others what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot go. Always trying to be the authority from the smallest position onto the highest, and will not respect other Salalu races in authority over them. They do not know remorse. All right. So I can see that when another race is pouring out their heart, specifically Black people, but any race, pouring out their heart about what they go through, what does the Caucasian do? I'm tired of hearing about racism. That's what they would say. I'm like, wow. I'm like, and that's something that's really happened in this lifetime. You have the 60s that was right there. People are still first integrating things. And it's like, my parents were born in the 60s. That's their lifetime, and they're not that even that old. They don't even have gray hair yet, you know. So I'm like, that's not that long ago. All right. So he seeks to control all. Yes. Zamal Kosi.
I wanted to add that it's still going on. As if all the system is just to educate people in this way, where they don't think for themselves and they are just slaves. That's what I wanted to say. So it's still going on.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And let me take an example, like in my professional field, like this, and the way people are thinking mentally will make so that it is the person that is like, let me say, least performant that will be, but because you mentioned it some seconds ago, but because he maybe licks the boots of the boss, they'll keep him instead of someone who maybe is performant, but he knows the truth and he wouldn't stand for any lie. Then that's the person that they will get rid of, you see. And just maintaining this system kind of way. So I think it's still going on. That's what I wanted to add.
Right, it is. So it's like when you see somebody coming into their own, if you're a true deity, that's not a threat to you, you know, but it's that control of others. All right. That's from that weak DNA. All right. So he seeks to control all broadcasting of any kind, all sports, all wars, all travel, and all employment in order to control the dadats, that's births, mawatats, deaths, all medical and medicines, all qasas, licenses, certificates, all awards. All right. So most beautiful women in the world, according to who? All right, because I don't remember voting on who was the most beautiful woman in the world. Or when they say 100% of people said that this was good, that this, I'm like, I wasn't in that voting, you know. So by whose authority? All right, medicines. I'm even thinking about Dr. Sabi, how they took Dr. Sabi to court. Dr. Sabi is minding his business, staying in his lane, using natural herbs to help others. Then he had to go. That's why he ended up going to Honduras, because the United States, he took him to court because he said that he was able to cure certain ailments. And he actually won the case, but he knew his life was in danger, so he left. All right. Imagine that. All right. So 227, he seeks to control all cinemas, all masak music, the shows, plays, fashion models, murmamul, that's the actors, murmat tatu, the actresses, teams. 228, he must have dominion. All right. That's what they was putting their genes. Our Nadaru tells us to have harmony. All right. And that's why we have FAC. FAC represents harmony. A represents unity. All right. So there's no harmony before unity. So you have to master unity first, which is a form of understanding yourself. Now you could be in harmony with all else. Then you go into FAC. All right. So that's being in harmony. You play your position empowered. All right. But no, that's not their nature. They must have dominion. So he must have dominion, or he will be revealed as weak and not as smart. And he makes himself out as he makes himself out to be in public. All right. Have dominion of others, because if he has dominion over you, he's also keeping you in check. That's something I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate So anyone trying to keep me in check. I don't consider myself controlling, but like I like to be controlled over me, and that's something we have to kind of burn out of ourselves. All right, because the reality is, the less control we feel over ourselves, the more urge we do have to control others. All right. So when you are in your place and time, you play your place and time. All right. So this is his inner fear of being revealed as fake, not the hero he makes himself out on media or cinema. All right. He's already being revealed as that. All right. That's why Trump is their last hope, but he's not going to succeed. All right. To take their country back, make them great again. All right. Their image is fading. All right. So there was a mother. She named her a child Messiah. All right. In Tennessee. All right. A Tennessee judge ordered a mother named Jaleesa Martin to have her son's name changed from Messiah to Martin in court, stating Messiah is a title that is held only by Jesus Christ. All right. Who are them to tell her that she can't name her son Messiah? All right. And then a judge partaking in cooking contests. All right. So you cook your food, they judge it. And they tell you, oh, you're a good chef, according to my taste buds. All right. And then there's gymnastics. They compete and they watch these gymnasts like what's her name? Gabby, and they called her the flying squirrel, Gabby. Even though it's funny, I don't see her much lately. Then you have Simone Biles. And you had people, especially in the Ghana, they did certain movements that the other gymnasts couldn't do. So they made it illegal to do that movement. All right. And then you have the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Sciences, called the Oscars, the Board of Governors, those who approve all nominations, thus having control over the award shows. All right. And then you have he who controls the government, many aspects of your life, from when you are born to when you die. All right. You get a certificate of death approved by who? Them. All right. Who you can marry. All right. What you can teach, where you can travel, if you can drive, or a form of licenses and certificates. All right. I'm certified by the power of white supremacy. All right. And this is who they deem as the images that they approve for you. All right. That's on the board. All right. Laws are put in place that control your health and well-being. Okay, caretakers, lawbreakers. All right. So here's an article about them coming against midwifey. All right. So this article is about women feeling like they're not getting adequate care in the hospitals. So then they get their own midwife. So in Montana, they started to they put a midwifery on trial, of saying no, they have to be born in our hospitals. All right. So laws are put in place that control your health and well-being. 232. He will lie, steal, and kill to have his way, and not be uncovered or discovered for what he really is, the last Salau race, the weakest race of all Yakaru others, with the least intelligence. All right. Michelle Obama is quoted saying that she sat in all these circles, and she said, "Take it from me, they're not as smart as they pretend to be." Or she said something like that. They're not as smart as you think they are. He will steal others' ideas and pretend he came up with it first. He will defame any leader who is independent of his political or Zionist religious Tapa world. He is a faker, a phony, a fraud, an imposter, just like all other Hawanats animals who rely on instinct, the beast. He is only about his own. All right. So that dog doesn't really love you, for example. The dog is loyal to the fact that you feed him. You're a food source. So it's only in his best interest to stay close to the food source. All right. Or like when an animal is looking out for their species. Like if you give birth to your child, you have hormones that are released in your body to bond to that child. All right. As most animals, because it's in the interest of that species for you to bond with that child. All right. So that's really instinct. All right. Divine emotions is not just about a mother loving their child or an animal species looking out for it, because that's the species interest. Why you even get aroused in the first place, because it's in the species interest to go on. But divine is about remembering the bigger picture where you fit in. All right. So it's not just about your own, it's about what benefits the collective, poets, the all, the very ecology. All right. There's no room for hate in that. But love, divine love, doesn't mean that you don't respect the conditions, because it's not about, I'm not going to deal with that. It's not about hate. It's not wise for me to. All right. So 234, he has in his DNA, by way of Yahweh Elohim, hate, enmity for all other Salalu races, yet especially the Nagad Nadu Negroid race, of whom he is Janenos, jealous, resentful, and envious. And because by their curse, they've lost their Ba soul. You see them express emotions in Sanam or cinema so well, you think it is real. They are creators of theater. It is only theatrical and can fake emotions, as you see on screen, TV plays. And Master Tama, the actor wears, has become their real Wajaj face. All right. It's just an act. All right. And that's why Baba says, get out of that sensationalism. Granted, you have emotions, but you also have to look into things as facts. Because I remember this brother, he was in the group, but he was saying something that wasn't measuring out. So he actually cried on cue. And I noticed that. And that was enough for a lot of people, like, oh yeah, he cares so much, he knows what he's talking about. And it's like, no, that was manipulation. All right. So they pretend so much for so long that they don't know what tasarat, emotions, really are. They replace lust for love in all ways. Why they have no rhythm. They can't rakus dance to a real rhythm, only to direct beats. Nor express their sawat's voice in sanat and kanai's song. Only saruk yell or yodel or howl, or zauk scream and call it singing from their yanaf nose only. Yet others must pretend to accept because they control what Masak music gets out to the public. They control the airwaves. All right. So the singers and the songs and the lyrics and the art that you see and the images that you see in mainstream, this is the images that they have approved. All right, for you. All right. So they will tell you Hawanu animals have spirits, yet only humans have Ba soul from God. Yet Hawanu animals mate, kiss, copulate sexually. All right. Animals have likes and dislikes. All right, they can have their favorite. Like I watch pigeons, and pigeons, they can pair off for life. They're considered a monogamous species. So they choose their mate typically, and they'll stay and they'll mate in the season with the same mate over and over. All right. That's just its genetic program. All right. So animals, Bakoy cry when in pain. They get angry. They fight and they kill. This is all having a spirit, yet not Kahen Ba, divine soul, needed in order to invent, to bring about new things, not just build and construct. Huanu animals, such as the Mutyaru fowls, build, yet he has invented nothing new like the pyramids. Something not seen before that he can learn from, other than reconstruct or fabricate, yet he doesn't invent. All he claims is from others. All right. So he just like the Picasso. You see that, he just took that from his observation and just reconstructed it. All right. Or they study. But in actuality, like the old singers, the old dancers, they didn't go to singing school and dancing school. They sung from their soul. They danced from their soul. All right. James Brown didn't go to any singing and dancing school. That was his soul. All right. And what they did was they get us out of our soul seat. All right. And give us techniques just so we could keep reconstructing and fabricating. All right. That's it. You're just constructing songs at this point with formulas. All right. Not from catching real soul waves. All right. So he is only 6,000 years old. So he did not build any of the Kadem Maspat's ancient sites around the Paa Taraq of the world. All right. When they say ancient civilization, the word ancient only means before. All right. Before civilization. They're talking about before their civilization, because they called everybody else uncivilized. All right. So when they talk about ancient stuff, it's just before. Before what? Before they came into the picture. All right. That's not necessarily ancient for us because we're still here. It's ancient for them because that's before them. So he is only 6,000 years old. He did not build any of the Kadem Maspats, ancient cities around Paa Taraq, the world. You are not like them. They are not like you. You don't have the same origin or creators or the same sha'orat, feelings, likes or dislikes. In John chapter 8, verses 44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. There Jesus said they are of their father, Pa Mudwal the devil. Because it's funny how they say you are the father, you are of your father the devil. But then they also call Father God. Our Father who art in heaven. All right. So they use all kinds of ways to give Celtic and Celtics, whether it's a C, S, or a K, money by any means. Fake contest winners in cinemas and commercials. You think of it and they will find a way to give wealth to their own and have them on TV. All kinds of programs. All right. TV day in and day out. That's what it's supposed to say. Day and night. Right. So you see the image all day, all night. All kinds of programs, grants, loans, returns. If they did not, they would be the poorest race on Matha earth. All right. Because in actuality, nature does not naturally incline to whiteness. All right. So they must spend their wealth to attract all others. Because nature doesn't naturally incline that to you. Like, for example, you put on a show from the 1990s, and it was always some Caucasian skinny woman that was running, and She always had her hair back, and then she took it down, and it was slow motion, and then slow motion, the hair drops, and then everybody stops what they're doing, and they go, men, women, everybody stops. So what they're doing is programming you, or somebody walks in on the screen, and then everybody says, woo-hoo. And like, well, I guess that's attractive. And you're seeing that from the time you're very young, all right? And they're saying, well, that's beautiful. No one has to tell you, all right, that by nature that black is beautiful, because there's a natural inclination to it, all right? Nature supports that design. So naturally, nature is always on a journey back to itself. So there's no advertisement needed. Nature's just going to be what it is when it's natural, right? So they use all kind of fake ways to give the Celtics, all right? If they did not do that, they'd be the poorest race on Matah, on earth. They don't produce anything that others don't make better, all right? There's nothing original about the Caucasian, all right? Nothing, all right? And others can do it, all right? So what they do, they disenfranchise other people to have a just us system. So nobody else can do it, because they know that the moment others do it, they always take over, all right? Especially us, but any group takes over, all right? So all needed natural resources are in foreign Maratsat lands, all right? Think about the Belgium chocolate. Cocoa trees don't grow in Belgium, all right? They get most of that from Africa, all right? So it's funny, everything that Europe is known for is not European, all right? They say this is Mursam, art. This is not. This is precious, Murshad, jewels and stones, valuable, or this is an antique, and this is and this is not. So I was saying that they're deciding, oh, this is art. No, that's not art. That's trash. This is nice. This is not nice. This is valuable. This is not valuable. And they place value. All right. And they made Marilyn Monroe dance on stage and sing diamonds are a girl's best friend. That was a diamond advertisement, because before then you didn't give a diamond to your wife. So then it's like a girl wants diamonds. All right. So that's how they pushed it, because why do you want a diamond band? It's because Caucasians told you that's what you should wear. All right. And that was really for them to get into certain to take over certain what was it called? When you go to the caves and get the diamonds. I forgot what you call those, but the diamond caves, all right, so to speak. All right. All that's political, all right. But whatever the case is, why ever they're doing it, all right, they're the ones deciding, all right, what's in and what's not, what's valuable, what's not valuable. All right. If you don't give your wife a diamond, you don't really care about her. All right. Who said that? All right. Why that stone and why not another stone? So they say this is arts. All right. They decide what minerals are valuable and how much. Yet none is ever under the feet in Murab, Europe. So they move on to others' lands and then claim it as their own and take the natural resources as their own. Why did not their God put them on the part of the Macabre planet with the rich and natural resources? They have none. All right. So you can't take any natural resource to Europe, not one. All right. It's going to take you to some other place. Even French furniture, because the France are known for their furniture. They got most of their trees from Haiti. All right. All their and that's why today Haiti is still suffering from the landslides and stuff, because there's no trees to soak up the water. All right. So they disturb the ecology. But they took credit for Italian furniture, French furniture, and they're not getting those trees from those places. All right. So this also makes them hate. Yeah, yakaru, others. All right. So everything they value is not really around them. And this actually makes them resent others. All right. So they were given nothing, not even while we had good health. They suffer their whole hayahat's lives from all kinds of illness and sickness, disease, and live in kharuf, fear of old age when they start to become brittle and live in all kinds of pains. I could tell you, being around the Nagad Nadu, the African elders, all right. Well, I mean, I would say we're kind of compromised because just because they're in Africa doesn't mean they're not still partaking in some of the Adamites, um, uh, you know, diets and such like that. However, you could see the elder 80-year-old woman. She just get up and then she gets down like this, doing whatever, moving around fine, you know. And in reality, their bones, Caucasian bones and everything, they're made different. So they're already rotting and falling apart by the time they're 27, if that, you know. So that they have a fear of old age for that reason. But by natural nature has us naturally. I mean, we do a lot of unnatural things, but according to natural nature, we age a lot more gracefully. All right. So, they decide what schools teach, what lessons they make, the grades and tests to pass and leave behind whomever, which Mukanu teachers go to which Mukanat schools to teach and to cheat for their Salau race. All right. So they have proven that the testing system itself is racist. All right. On top of that, they put all of their images on everything. So naturally, when you don't see yourself attached to something, naturally you're disconnect in a way. Because there's a part of you that says, well, what this got to do with me? Why I got to know this? So you go to your math book, it's a bunch of white people there. You go to your biology book, bunch of white people there. You go to your social studies book, bunch of white people. And even in history class, you do American history, and then you do world history. You realize you're in Europe the whole time. And then you might spend 1 week, you know, looking at something else. And it's still, even if you look at somebody else, it's still through European scope lens, all right, from their perspective. And they will cheat to make sure that they skew everything in favor of what is conducive for the Caucasian to look like they're more on top. All right. So that happened to me once. I was like really good in this one particular class. I was probably the best student in that particular class. And the projects that I would do, they were always really good. And like I would because I really enjoyed that class. And it was this white teacher, I remember. And I remember, like, based on all the way that the grading system, I was supposed to get the highest grade. But for some reason, he gave me a B. So I had to go to the dean and talk. And we had to go back and forth. And then I put all the measurement. And it's just that he just didn't want the black girl to have the best grade in the class. But he had to change it. All right. So I've experienced that. And this other guy, he told me about when he was younger. I was grown at that time. But this other guy, he was just a little boy, and he remembers that. He's like he must be about 60 now, that guy, 50 or something like that. But he always told that story about when he was younger, and he's really like studious himself. And he did a project, and he took his time, and it had like the solar system and everything like that. And they always had the parents come in to watch the students. And what he ended up, what the teachers did, because his project was so detailed, it was like, and he took a lot of pride and time into it. And the teacher said, oh, what we're going to do, we're going to change things up. I want you guys to present each other's project. So they gave him like something with a stick on it. I can't remember how he explained it, but it was like a really mediocre, really poor project. And they switched all the people. So they took the blind boy's project, gave it to him to present, and they made the blind boy present his project, and everybody was giving the blind boy so much props, like, because when the parents finally came in and everything was displayed, it made the little white boy look like a prodigy, because they didn't say they're going to present each other's projects. They just said that to the children. And and it's like, wow, they had to skew the illusion again. So 258. The Mutkafu Nadam education system is controlled by them, which Miss Fahad's books, who goes to which Malkan school and what is taught, who gets degrees and who doesn't. So they appoint who receives grants for Malkat's money to research, and they say what is found that date and finding and hide facts. All right. So they change the facts around. If they find something and it's not conducive to what is promoting their agenda, they will skew the facts. They will change the findings. They will hide the facts. All right. Even shift dates. So you work and they take a part of your mukat money and they call it a tax. So you see the world's world problem is them. The root of shawash, chaos, racism, war is always them. It is a great Zamut day. As of 2000, which is 6,000 year end of the Dominion. And Fatah, natural nature is at work with the healing in its wings. Malachi chapter 4, verses 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall, as a son. In Psalms chapter 84, verses 11. For the Lord of God is a sun and a shield, and the Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will be withheld from them that walk uprightly. Their Gadad is the Shamash, son. Musbatu Sabians, you must know the Ba soul from the Ka spirit. As a spirit is the person related to the Dayarat, desires of the body. All right? Your desire to eat. All right? Sometimes even who you like to be around, who you don't like to be around. All right? What makes you comfortable? What makes you uncomfortable? That's all spirit. All right? So I say, live by the Ba soul, and you will not gratify the desires of the Ka spirit, for the spirit lives by desires, by which is contrary to the Ba soul. All right? So, for example, that's why I enjoy reading the scrolls, because the scrolls give me another focus. Because one thing I do, I love to eat. I really enjoy eating. But what's great, I also enjoy reading. So sometimes by reading, it allows me not to overeat. So, for example, I felt my stomach growl because I didn't eat yet. I'm gonna eat after this. But I felt my stomach growl. But I was so focused on like I really want to read the scroll because the scroll is more important. I could always eat. I have my food over there, and it's actually helping me when I focus on living by soul, because I get the benefit. Because when you live by soul, your spirit benefits anyway. Your body benefits anyway. When you live by spirit, sometimes it could be damaging, because why not just sleep a little bit more? Why not just, I don't know, partake in something, it's pleasurable, why not? Why not just gratify your pleasures all the time? And then you'll realize if you do that too often, that you're actually shortening your life. All right. So living by soul, it gives you protections because there's so much in our dirty. Not all those instincts are actually good for you. All right. A lot of unnatural things happen to us. All right. So that's where the protections come from living by soul, because you're doing what's best in the long term. All right. So 265. And the Baal soul, that which is contrary to the spirit, they are in conflict with each other. All right. Sometimes you just don't feel like it. All right. It's not always fun for me working out. I don't always like that. Sometimes I do, though. I mean, living by soul can be pleasurable too, because you learn to take pleasure in doing what's good for you. But sometimes you just don't feel like it. All right. So 266. So that you do not do that which leads to your physical wants. All right. So the soul, which is in contrary to the spirit, they are in conflict with each other, so that you do not do what leads to your physical want. All right. One thing I realize, I'm thinking so much clearer when I don't eat certain things. So I haven't partaken in certain type of processed sugar. And they had like this big party yesterday actually. And then they were giving out like chocolate, salted chocolate cake. And it looked very moist from this really nice restaurant. I was like, I probably would enjoy that. But I was like, it's not really worth it. I'm not saying never partake in things that you enjoy. But when you realize that sometimes people overindulge. All right. So by living by soul, I was like, but I'm thinking so much clearer. So it's not worth it. But the body probably wanted it, but I was in tune with my soul. All right. So 267. Yet if you are led by the spirit person, you will not be living by Wu-sabat or its mental resurrections. Sakam power, Nupu, the act of Jawed, wicked, weak, Tem, Fatar, that's natural nature, is obvious. Sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, and Laben shots, white magic, or Mishaf, witchcraft of the Wiccans, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of anger and rage, selfish ambitions, dissension, factions and envy, intoxication, drunkenness, orgies and the likes. Right. So now you see all the different ways that we can live by spirit at times. All right. Being jealous of somebody, being angry, having to tell somebody off and cut them down a few notches. All right. That's all. That means spirited. All right. Because your soul is not really built to want to do that. Your spirit does, though, at times. Can't be mad enough, Or white magic, all right? White magic, when you start dealing with wanting to shift the facts in your favor, all right? So it's more favorable to you. That's white magic, because you're playing with the appearances of things, all right? Hatred, all right? So I warn you, Musbatu Sabians, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the gift of Sahin, divine life, and be worthy to become Nadaru, overseers. All right. That's our highest ambition, to become a Nadaru. All right. A Muntaru, all right, is one who is a Nadar, a being to personify as such. All right. So that's living by soul. Yet Musbatu Sabians, the divine seed of the Ba soul, is ashuk, divine love. That's joy, harmony, peace, order, justice, patience, kindness, goodness, devotion, gentleness, and self-control. How do you act when you don't get your way? All right? Think about it. Everybody's nice when they get their way. The moment somebody says or does something you don't like, how do you act? All right? How you treat each other, you know? How you treat yourself. All right? How you treat nature. It's a process, right? Joy, harmony, peace, order. All right? Justice, patience. Sometimes people just try your patience. All right? So control of the spirit against such things as dayar, desire. Because desire leads to the road of suffering. Do not be deceived. Truth is truth. Fact is fact. Faith is faith. And hope is hope. All right? Don't mix up the two. Truth is truth. Fact is fact. Faith is faith. Faith is not fact. Hope is not truth. All right? Seek sawab, truth. Seek hakakat, facts. Avoid akad, faith. Avoid hope. And make your wish, yatoy, come true, because you reap what you sow. All right? Frederick Douglass, he was quoted. I read a quote from Frederick Douglass. He said that his praise, he noticed that for black people, I'm paraphrasing. He said black people must realize that their prayers mean nothing if their prayers don't grow legs. So it means that you have to get up and move your prayer forward. All right. So you reap what you sow. All right. The ones who sows to please the Bashar flesh from the Bashar flesh will reap self-defeat and destruction. For the flesh is weak, yet the Ba soul is strong in you who know the truth. All right. So I was like, I could please the body right now, but it's going to make my body actually weak. So I'm not saying I never, but I was like, instead of eating that chocolate cake, you know what? I went out and I got something that was a nice compromise. And I'm like, it still hit the spot, but it wasn't such a low vibration. So I don't have to recover, you know. And it's addictive because once you open that door, sometimes it's hard to close it back. So one who sows to please the Bashar flesh, all right? There's a lot of people that you sit up here and sometimes people hang on your every word because you're touching something in their soul. This is what they was looking for. But a lot of times people use it to empower themselves instead of the other person, or what Bible calls doctrine. All right. Doctrine could mean sleeping with that person, because sometimes when you're talking to somebody, they be like, oh, you're the one. I'm so attracted to you. But in actuality, that's kind of natural in a way, but you could redirect them. All right. Because they're in a vulnerable state. And then you realize, no, you're the one. All right. Or another thing that people do is that they exploit people for money, maybe, you know, whatever lust that they're looking for. All right. And not only are they playing with that person, but they're playing with their own soul. All right. So they look to please their bashar flesh. All right. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right. So 275. Wakut time is a fact. Natural nature works with Wakut time as your Qadar faith. Fate. Your Qadar is fate. All right. So natural nature works with time. Why? Because natural nature respects the how do you say that word? I wanted to say in our language, Akasha. Akasha deals with the conditions. All right. Akasha. So it respects the conditions and it goes through its process. And that's why we say who, Sia, and Hika, where who is the creative force. Sia is the clear thinking. And Hika is that supernatural power. All right. Supernatural power. Sometimes you might see Hika called magic. All right. And what do you mean by magic? Now we have to be specific. What do we mean by supernatural power? It means that it's the process in which things come about. All right. So you have who, you're going to create something. You can see it in your mind's eye, that's seer, and it's clear. And now you're going to respect the process by which to pull it forth. All right. Through the various conditions. All right. Within the laws of natural nature. All right. So that's supernatural. That's what we mean by supernatural. So, it doesn't mean unnatural or outside of the realms of natural nature. All right. It still respects how nature comes about. So, Bakut's time is a fact. Natural nature works with Bakut's time as your Kadar fate. All right. So, every decision, that's why we have a scroll called the decision. And every decision, you're sealing your fate. All right. So, I knew that. And I was like, yeah, I do enjoy cake, but I guess I won't eat it. Because I was thinking about it's decision time. So I won that day, right? So you're Ladud born, you will die, and that is natural Kadar fate. That is a fact. You're being Kayoya created from Afor dust of the ground and will never die. That is faith, and that's an unnatural hope. All right. So do you know how you're put together? Do you live by faith or do you live by fate? All right, or fact. Because if you live by fate, you could respect the facts. All right. So I could believe which one to choose. That is will. Yet you will not change the Sawab truth. All right. You can't change the truth, but you can hide the truth. All right. But the thing is that you can't hide from yourself and you can't hide from the consequences of whatever you choose. All right. So you who sow to feed the Baas, soul from the ether will reap eternal Wajudan existence as a Murkaku, Etherian, as an oversoul. All right. So now we say Baror, 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 Nabab, Nadar, Muqdad. All right. Master, overseer, almighty. All right. When you master something, you take time to master it. You master the soul. That's the discipline of the soul. All right. Master. All right. Discipline. All right. Nadab. All right. Overseer. And then you have Almighty. So now that's what we're working towards. Now you know what it's all for. Right? So you who feed the Baal soul from ether will reap eternal Wajudan existence as a Mukaku, Etherian, and oversoul. You think more of your Baal soul and less of your Bashar flesh, as also. So also you are the opportunity, or you have the opportunity while in the flesh. All right. So while in the flesh, right now, you have the opportunity to think more of your soul than your flesh. All right. Because one is set to expire. So you can be tapped into your soul right now. All right. So just send good to all persons, especially to those who belong to the Shahab tribe. 283. If someone is caught in Jawedness, wickedness, they are weak. And you who are strong should restore them gently. Yet watch yourself so you may not be tempted. All right. So according to this, you see your brother or sister doing something that's against our way. According to this, how should you help them? Do you go and humiliate them in front of everyone, or do you restore them gently? And then you watch for yourself that you're also not tempted. All right? Because sometimes when you try to stop somebody from doing something, you realize that you could actually fall victim to doing it yourself. So as you're correcting them or you're helping them, you watch yourself as well. All right. So Nasar, help each other with each other's burdens. And in this way, you will both become strong. All right. It doesn't say humiliate each other. It doesn't say create other platforms to talk about each other. All right. No. All right. So 285. If anyone thinks they are great when they are not, they only deceive themselves. And time will reveal they are nothing more than Yakura, others. All right. They are nothing more than others. All right. When people always talk about people, like, oh man, I can't stand people. You have to remember your people too. All right. So anything you say about people, you're really saying about yourself as well. Can't stand people. That's why I can't stand people. All right. So now you think you're so great and everybody else is the problem. All right. You go, you have a problem with everybody. Could be something as well that you need to work on. All right. It's not always people because you both are co-creating that reality. All right. So each one should test their own actions by way of Wu-sabat. Then you can take pride in yourself without comparing yourself to someone else. All right. So don't compare yourself to someone else. All right. Test yourself by your own actions. All right. Hold yourself next to Wu-sabat, not next to other people. All right. That, oh, I'm doing better than this person. I read this amount of scrolls. Or I speak the language that much better. Or my diet is better than this person. All right. You're giving up your divinity and you're cheapening all the progress that you made. All right. Well, I knew Baabaa long ago. Whatever the case is, that's irrelevant. Hold yourself next to Wu-sabat. All right. So, because each one should carry their own load in life, yet help one another to sawab truth and facts and explain away hopes and faith, which only leads to fear and fright. All right. Doesn't say shame away. No, it doesn't say shame away. It doesn't say judge away. All right. That's for nature to judge that person. You explain away. And if the person doesn't want to listen to you, like the Elder Scroll says, then you just avoid them and so they come, if they come to you. All right. So do not be afraid of Dawat's death. It is in your qadar faith. That's part of your fate, all right? And faith that it will not, Yatoy come, will not alter your fate. All right. So just believing that you can't die, that's not going to, your belief in truth is truth. How you relate to truth doesn't change the truth. So whether you don't believe it or not, that won't change your faith. All right. It won't change your fate. All right. 289. As a living, dying physical, makayoy, that's creature, welcome Mawat's death, as you welcome Ladad birth. Greet the Ba soul as you greet the newborn Mukrad child with a Basam smile. All right. So don't be sad that people die. All right. Your loved ones. It's going to be a physical death at some point. You're going to physically die. That's why we tap into the soul. All right. So now you could smile, right? So Pa Nathar, the overseers, clearly says that in latter Mukhtar's time, some Musbatu Sabians will abandon Wu-sabat and follow deceiving persons and things taught by demons. All right. Read the Bridge of Salvation. Baabaa warns about people who's going to twist this doctrine, especially when he passes on. All right. It's already happening. All right. That's really the reason why I said, let me read this out loud to everybody. All right. Because why people are already doing that now. And I'm like, they don't even realize because they're not reading and they trust like, oh, this is my brother, my sister. I trust them. You don't need to do that. It's not necessary. All right. Because sometimes even if I read this scroll, you read this scroll, the way you relate to it may be different. So you're following behind my connection to Panadadu rather than creating your own. All right. That's still a problem, even if I'm not a devil. All right. Because I was even like I was looking through the chants. I mean the chants. I was looking at the chants, and as I was learning to chant, and then I was making a relationship to what's going on in the chants. And the chants, they open up to me and they tell me whole stories. And then I was somebody else had asked me for the chants and it had all my notes in it. And then they started to ask what that was about. Because I had like birth, becoming a mother, etc., etc. Because I could see different things happening. So then they was like, what's that about? And then I was like, then I realized that it's like if I have a brother and sister, instead of just introducing them to my mom, like let's say we all have the same mother, and I'm putting them through my relationship to my mom, and I'm like, the reality is that if a person has multiple children, that's an example, and we're children of Nataru, we all call the parent mom, but we may have a different relationship. All right. But it's still mom to us. So I realized that each one has to make their connection to Panadaru. All right. And yeah. So then I erased my notes and then sent so they can make their own. Like what's happening? What are they feeling? All right. So Panadaru Overseers Clay says, in latter Wukatat's time, some Muspatu Sabians will abandon Wu-sabat and follow deceiving persons and things taught by demons. Baba said he's not just waking up gods, he said he's waking up devils, and we're side by side. All right. Just because we're reading the same scrolls doesn't mean nothing. All right. Or we wear the same stuff. All right. So we all make that connection to Wu-sabat. All right. You don't have to have no belief in anybody. All right. No relationship outside of that relationship to yourself and how you relate. And that person has the relationship to themselves and how they relate. And y'all relate, that's called ontology. All right. How everything fits together in its own place and time, in its own zero time reference. It's a very powerful thing. All right. So such teachings come by way of hypocritical liars whose conscience has been evaded by specters of six ether. All right. So they are conduits of six ether. All right. As hypocritical liars. All right. They take a little piece of the scroll, twist it for their agenda. All right. Or Baba sends them a whole message and they hand out the message to who they want based on how they want that person to relate to it rather than just delivering it. All right. A lot of that's happening. All right. So they have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with their myths and legends and tales. Their story, his story of fact and belief, of faith, Hasmuni. Let me read that again. They have nothing to do with their myths and legends and tales. Their story, his stories of faith and belief with no hakakat, actual facts. Only hopes of taklus, salvation, and anak, eternal life in this physical world. Only zombie bodies rose from the physical death. And Mashai walk the earth. Be not fooled. All right. So they have no minds. They're just bodies. All right. I heard Baba say something. I'm like, wow, that sounds a little raw for me. But he calls some people mindless eaters. He says some of you are just mindless eaters. You just go through life, you eat, and you don't learn nothing. All right. You have no mind. All right. So when you read the scroll and then you say, oh, mindless eater, okay, you're talking about somebody who's just living by the pleasures of the flesh and they're not picking up any of the jewels for their soul. All right. So be true. Your Ba'a soul can never perish, spoil, or fade if you are remembered for the good accomplished while you lived in the Bashar flesh. All right. So there you go. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to just be nice. All right. That is a jewel for your soul right there. All right. Being remembered in eternal living in the akalat, minds, and aabat, hearts of those you did well by. They keep you alive. And as to your own munsabu relatives and offspring, you live on in their physical Qasas genes, so do not fear Mawat's death. It is not the end, only a new extended Wajunan existence, Musbatu Sabians. And when you are asked, how do you know for actual fact that the spirit is real and exists, you simply say, by way of the newborn Masas babe. It knows to Bakoi cry before being taught. It knows to Basum smile before being taught. It knows its mudatat, mother, without being told. That is spirit. That spirit has natural instinct, passed on from the mutat or the mudatat, mother, and mudadu, father's DNA, which themselves, all 24,000 genomes, do not interact in this Tapao world. All right. So some of the 24,000 genomes that we have are expressing himself, and some of them are not. All right. So they all do not interact in this world. All right. For a newborn baby to know these things is spiritual. And if they ask, how do you know the Ba'a soul is real, exists? You say, as the Mukra child grows around or away from either Shanash parent, Manash parent, no matter how far apart, or even the growing Mukrad child never meets, or if the child never meets one of the other Manash parent, the one with the Mukrad child will see the other, and not just how the Mukrad child looks, yet how the child acts. Its likes and dislikes, its habits, good and bad, its emotional attitude, that is Ba's soul. So, Tawur, yes, Ka's spirit and the Ba's soul are real, exist, and is passed on in the Mu'kak Mukwan etheric being. And overall, you that is unique. All right? So the soul and spirit makes an impression in the etherical body. And the etherical body, you know, expresses itself on a more dense level on the physical side. And as to your akal, mind, remember, it is not mine unless you invent something no one else ever did, or do something never done, or say something never said. For the akal mind is linked to a reservoir or mental to which all thinking mukasu persons feed. All right. So it's not yours. As Baba says in an update, I remember there's nothing new under the sun. All right. So it's not really mine. It only feels like mine because of emotions. All right. How many love stories has happened? How many people given birth on this planet? All right. How many things that seem so unique? Everybody uses the bathroom, but mostly everybody would get embarrassed if somebody walks in while they're using the bathroom, because it just feels personal, because that's my moment. My moment that is not really unique at all. All right. So you're just tapping into the mental reservoir. All right. To which all thinking persons feed. We all feed from that. All right. All person, places, and things, all fakarats, thoughts, and thinking are linked to the mental plane. 304. Only when you have a unique idea that you put together, a formula that is unique, by using things in the mental reservoir, does it become my idea or mine. All right. So notice that you're still pulling from the mental reservoir, but how you put it together, like for example, I'm sure that anybody could read a scroll, but no one could read a scroll the way I do it. So the way I link it together, the way I pull this, the way I pull that, same way no one could do anything the way you do it. All right, because you're gonna have your unique spin. That's yours. You know how you put it together. Like, oh, okay, you use that and you created something unique that will never happen again. All right, with someone else. All right, that's yours. All right, but notice that you're still pulling from the mental reservoir. All right, it's just how you put it together. So it was the same thing that I was doing with the chants. So my brain, I was pulling from what was already put in front of me, and it was stimulating certain thoughts to flow that I'm pulling from the mental reservoir. But how I'm putting it together is my unique relationship to the mental reservoir. All right. So then I was like, okay, I need to let that person have their own relationship. All right. And let them open up. All right. So they can tap into their creative. All right. Or their power. All right. So all person, places, and things, all fakara thoughts and thinking are linked to the mental plane. Only when you have a unique idea that you put together, a formula that is unique by using things in the mental reservoir, that it becomes my idea or mine. So this is the workings of Pa Akkad or Akal, the mind, Pa Katat, the body, Pa Ka, the spirit, and Pa Ba, the soul, which all make up your Mukak Mukwan, etheric being, and how you know they exist in the Kahen Mamtax, the divine matrix. All right. So you have evidence of all that in your life. All right. You take the seasonings in their kitchen and you make a dish, and the next day your brother or sister, they go take the seasonings, even if they make the same dish, it tastes a little different. Or they make something else, they take that ingredients and they're inspired to make something totally different. All right. That's the workings of their mind. All right. But y'all all are y'all tapping into the mind and y'all making it yours. Your own flavor. And then the katats, the body. All right. Your workings, your unique workings, your spirit. All right. Your soul, your emotions. All right. So Musbatu Sabians say and mean, I am who I am, and think you are what you become. That is the Salat's rule of fatar, natural nature. Who you are is who you always were and will be. And it is in your 24,000 genome. All right. So think about that. Your 24,000 genome doesn't all express itself on this side, but it's there. So everything that you ever was and everything that you ever will be, it's all already encoded in you. All right. It's up to you to activate it at its different times. All right. So what you are is what you became after birth, added to your natural character, learnt and accepted, and what you want to be, not your fatah, natural nature. All right. So who you are is always there, and what you are is what you become after birth. All right. Because what you are is subject to your decisions and your choices, what you learn, what you accept. All right. That's all about what you do. All right. And what you do can change. All right. What about you can change, but the who, it will always be there. All right. Yet an unnatural characteristic, Za'am, religion, is such a thing that affects the person, not who the person was, yet what the person became only as accepted. I did not cleverly invent Qasas-huu stories when I told you about the Sakam power of tones, vibrations, frequencies of your own katat, physical body. All right. Baba likes to, I remember Baba addressing this so many times in updates. But Baba said that he can't make all this up. He's not that creative. I remember him saying that. I didn't make all this up. All right. So Baba's saying 310, I did not cleverly invent Qasas stories when I told you about the sakam power of tones, vibrations, frequencies of your own katat, your natural body. This kahen sakam divine power gives you everything you need to transform through your right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding into right overstanding, so that by way of the right tones, you may participate in the divine fatal natural nature and escape the corruption in this physical tapal world caused by nahes, that's evil desires. All right. So now you see the link between your physical body and your etheric body. So you can be doing work on your etherical body right now in the physical. All right. Or you could be sabotaging your etheric body, you know. So for this reason, make every effort to ranum, chant, namuz, pray, gane, sing, and wakus, dance together in goodness with self-control and to control perseverance and to perseverance. All right. So that's why we come together. All right. We don't just come together to breathe each other's ear or to stunt on each other. Look how nice I'm dressed. See how good I look? How much of a better Sabian I am? No, that's not where we coming together. How smart I am. Let me just get up here so you can see how smart I am. All right. That's not the reason why we're doing this. We're coming together as an effort to heal our story. All right. That's why we're making the effort to chant, pray, sing, dance together in goodness. All right. With self-control. All right. Controlling those spirit forces. All right. For the purpose of what? Perseverance. Because it's about the workings of the Ba soul. So mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. 313. For if you use these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in your transformation. All right. So at times, I'm sure we all felt that way. I don't feel productive. I feel ineffective. Feel like I could be doing more. Probably you can, you know. And it's this transformation time because you're doing it already. You're already transforming right now. All right. You're getting a head start. You're transforming into a soul right now. All right. So know yourself inside out and outside in. Never have you been taught the likes of Wu-sabat or Misbatia or Sabaic as Muspatu Sabians of Maspatia. That's the place. And that is your own way, not others. Za'amat, religions for their own race and tone, not your own tone. Musbatu Sabians are a race themselves. Musbatu Sabians know this actual fact. There were also false prophets among their Shakasu people, just as there are and will be false teachers amongst you. All right? Baba says it here too. He says it in multiple scrolls. All right? Not everybody who studies Baba's information is the real thing. Some of them are false. All right? And I know that. And that's the only reason why I read these scrolls publicly, so that you don't get exploited in your vulnerable state. When you're looking, a lot of us, when we're looking for something, all right, a lot of times I know that there's more, I'm in a vulnerable state, and then somebody's there to their feed, they're not really there to help you. False teachers, all right, amongst you. And they take little talking bites But they really, that's why Bible said don't be food for the gods. We're talking about these demigods as well amongst us. All right. So they will be secretly introduced. They will, 318, they will secretly introduce destructive theories, even denying Wu-sabat, bringing swift destruction on themselves. All right. You have a person who wrote books saying Sabbat means to sabotage and to watch out and warning people against Bible's own teachings. You have people wanting to take us back to Ansar days, talking about when Bible was out and they lived on the land. And what we're doing now, when I don't do anything but read the scrolls. All right. How can I be appalled when I just read what Bible wrote? All right. And then make sure we explain it for comprehension. All right. And at times I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even realize that myself. But at times I've also corrected myself. Paul wouldn't do that. All right. They would introduce you to their own books. All right. And have you ignoring Baba's. All right. And I'm not saying anything's wrong writing books. We should be stepping up more, you know. But I'm just saying, like, some people, they will take little talking bites and twist something. If you're not maintaining a connection as well, you should, if you're reading one of Baba's students' books, you should also be reading Baba's books. And there's nothing wrong with his students writing books, but make sure you hold on to Baba. And you don't say, I'm going to stand close to this brother or sister because they going to put a good word in for me. No, they probably going to, if they're not encouraging you to make your own connection, they probably will exploit you. All right. So they will secretly introduce destructive theories, even denying Wu-sabat, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Many will listen to and follow their shameful ways and will bring the way of hakakat's actual facts and truth into dispute and disrespect in their lust and greed. All right. Another thing that we don't allow over here, we don't collect any money. All right. And that doesn't make me a bad Sabian because I don't let other people come in here and collect money for things that I haven't confirmed. All right. So for that reason, I also don't collect money. All right. If I ever do, which I've never done yet, it will all be transparent and you will see how it would also benefit you. But that has not happened yet. All right. So, because I'm very mindful, all right, knowing that people are homeless and people are struggling, and I got 2 working arms and legs, all right, and a working mind, I just don't feel comfortable taking money from people, all right. My conscience just won't let me. All right. So, 320. These false teachers will exploit those who listen and follow them with Qasas-huu stories they have made up or plagiarized from others and change or mistranslate even what I, Baabaa Yaanun, taught you. All right. Do you know Baba for yourself? All right. If you don't, get to know him yourself. Get to know him. He say you get know him. His mind is all in the scroll. You get to know his mind. All right. He put it in the scroll. All right. And then all the updates that you see, every single update, it's in the books anyway. All right. So you don't have to kiss up to somebody because I want to know what Baba said. If you haven't read every book, then you shouldn't be chasing anybody to see what he said when you didn't even take the time to see. He probably addressed it, you know. So these false teachers will exploit those who listen and follow with them. All right. Stories they have made up or plagiarized from others and change or mistranslate even what I, Baabaa Yaanun, taught you. Their condemnation has been long hanging over them, and their destruction has not been overlooked or extended past the 6,000 years, which is the year 2000 AD. These Caucasoids or Caucas Nadu blaspheme in matters they do not understand, and their Negro followers do not understand. They, the Qasas-huu, are brute beast creatures of instinct without Ba'a soul, born only to be caught and destroyed. And like a wild beast, they too will perish, and those who worship the image of his beast. All right. And I'm going to say it over and over. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Muslim. Right. So they will be paid back with harm for the harm they have done to the Nagad Nadu Salau Negro race. All right. Talking about the Caucasoids, how they play with our mind. All right. Our soul, and the Negro followers who follow behind them. All right. And then they come pretending to be one of us, and they're really trying to take us back to the same Caucasian overlords. All right. So they will be paid back for the harm they have done to the Nagad Nadu Salau, the Negro race. 324, cursed is their basar flesh as mubrasu, lepers, blots, and blemishes, revealing their perversions while they feast on flesh, even human, and spread disease with light-colored ayantwi eyes full of adultery. All right. So for us, I remember Baba saying we need to be closing up the holes in our DNA. All right. And I remember I was watching, he used those words exactly. You need to be closing up those holes or those compromises, those holes in the DNA. It's healing time. It's reformation time. And I remember this girl, she said she was a vampire. And she said she liked to feed on people's energy, and she also liked to feed on their actual physical blood. As a white girl, she's actually a pretty white girl. And she said she feed on a young girl. But when she was going into like explaining the psychology, she's just a broken person, essentially. That's what she's saying. Because she said that the way she sees vampirism is just having holes in the aura. And she wants to just, I guess she's always patching it up, but it never lasts. So she's always going. So Wu-sabat teaches you how to plug directly into the healing forces of natural nature. This way you don't have to be feeding off for the forces that are actually feeding off for you. All right. Or you're looking for the next brother or sister because they have a cool title. And that's why your character should bear more weight than a title can, because titles change. As you see, even Inky had many titles as his jobs changed. All right. So you see, make sure your character, because your character is something that they can't take from you. Your character is tying you back to a soul, and that soul doesn't have an expiration date. Titles do. All right. So they never stop their Jawed, wicked, and Nahes, evil ways. They use media to seduce the weak-minded. All right. So instead of cleaning up their act, either they hide what they're doing and they just continue doing it, or they just keep doing it and hide the facts. All right. And they use the media to seduce the weak-minded. All right. So you have to strengthen your psychic self-defense, because you're not beyond being impressionable. All right. That's why you choose your circle and what you're doing, what you're partaking in. That's why I didn't eat the cake, because I'm like, it's going to lower my continence in some type of way. So I was like, nah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm still building certain things, so it's not the time at that moment. All right. So because so many ways, so many people keep coming to try to seduce me. They keep trying to come to try to make me a ghoul. And they don't like that I ask questions, so they're trying to break my consonants down in different ways. So I'm like, yeah, it's not the time to eat chocolate cake. All right. Because I need my nervous system sharp right now. All right. So you take care of yourself too. All right. That's a form of psychic self-defense. That's why I remember Baba said in another update, he has said you have to exercise for your exorcism. He talked about respiration, which is breathing. He talked about perspiration, which is sweating, and how he even brought up risk, how they sweat, I think twice or something like that. Sweating has something to do with risk. But essentially, you're hoping to, I guess, align yourself, all right? And you're getting some of these toxins out, getting it out your system. You have to burn out your desires. And we know respiration, it deals with your lighting your inner sun, all right? So you're dealing with raising the sun heat genes by proper respiration. So we see all this has to do with burning out, sweating out. All right. If you ever like are trying to get something out your system, you go do sauna and detoxes. That helps you to detox faster. All right. That's all your psychic self-defense. So 327. They are experts in kadabat, lies, and deception, and seek your ba soul to offer your bashar flesh to their overlords. And who are their overlords? In their own Madatat words, the great draconians, the Mutnanu, that's the reptilians, all right? The Mudwawu devils, the Satans who lead the whole world astray, the fallen Mukbatu angels cast out from above. All right, we're going to read this verse, and I think that's a good place for us to wrap up for today. So this is what this verse says in Revelations chapter 12, verses 7 through 12. It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was there a place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. And he was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhibitors of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. You have the Dinger of Inki, later called the Serafu, that's the seraphim, and you have the Ikiki of Enlil, called the Karabu, or the cherubim. These cherubim was cast out of Nibiru to dwell on Matah, earth, with the Gabayu, or the Gabor, children who were birthed by way of the Munashu, Enosites, Mukradu, children of Mudamu, Adamites, who Malachi York among you now as Nadu, Caucasoids, working with their lords and masters, who they call Molech, Milcom, Melech, or Malik, angelic beings. Anu, they call Eliun El, Inki, they call El, Yahweh, Enlil, they call Baal and Yahweh. Ninurta, they call Adonai. Nanar, they call El Shaddai, the mighty. They and all others of this 50 will call Elohim or Alahat. These are some of their titles and their sharaktat, two consorts. Anu and his consort Antu, mother of Enlil, and Anu's other consort, Nemo, that is mother of Enki, and Enlil's consort called Ninlil, mother of Iskar and Nanar, and Iskar's consort with Ninjo. Enki's consort was Damkina, mother of Murdoch, whose consort was Sarpanit, who birthed Nabu, whose consort was Tash Metum. Also Enki birthed a son Nerjo, whose consort was Erishkigal. And also Enki had another son called Damuzi, whose consort was daughter of Nanar, and Ningo, daughter of Inanna, who birthed Tammuz. Anu also had a daughter called Ninhersag and Ninma, and by her Shakak brother Enlil birthed Ninurta, whose consort was Ba or Gula. All right, so we're looking at the bloodline of the Anunnaki and the various politics in the family. All right. Nanar and Ningo also birthed a son, Uto or Shamash, whose consort was Aya. There are many, and each had titles as they ruled as Murgaru or deities over their creation of Murjan, hybrid humanoids as Mudbanu, Murmal or U, slave workers. All right. So notice that if you're dealing with them, you are identifying as a hybrid. All right. Because we talked about Enki, we talked about Enlil, we talked about different things. And granted, we are. That is kind of what we are. All right. Hybrids. Technically, we are hybrids at this point. But who we are is not. So are we tapping into who we are or what we became? All right. So those are the Elohim, the Nayor bird, Rabion, the gods, the lords as found in the Hebrew Bible, Greek Gospel, and Arabic Quran. These are who they worship, their unseen, the God deity, each name to be the one and only deity and the greatest, and commanded their subjects to obey and serve them only. All right. So each one and only deity, they were fighting, all right, amongst each other. And they each had their own commandments to their subjects to obey and serve them only. And they have no other except them, or they will end up in the Narar fire. But by that was originally meant to be a burning altar offered up to be cooked, and then their jasad flesh eaten as a sweet smelling savor called a sacrifice to their Yahweh Elohim, Rab, Allah, Lord God, and his Sawawu. That's daughters, and Sawatatu, sons, and Sawawu, sons, and Sawatatu, daughters, over whom was placed a head, or Musa, Messiah, anointed one. All right. So when they were always being threatened with the burning fire, their deity was always threatening them to cook them. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to get rid of you once and for all. All right. In the burning fire. All right. So now you know they will put you on the altar. All right. So, and the Morasat's lands that these Anuna ruled on Ki was Separ, Babylon, Akkad, Kish, which was Cush, father of Nimrod, or Nimrod, Nupar, Adap, Uma, Asin, Sarupak, Lakash, Uruk, Larsa, El Ubius, Eridu. All right. So Cush is the father of Nimrod. All right. We see it appear in different stories in different ways. So this is Mashmar, Sumer, the land of Mesopotamia, or Persia, among the Euphrates and Tigris River, feeding the Persian Gulf, dividing into 4. Each Anuna was given charge of a land and Mukashu people by the Most High Anu. All right. So now you see that even though Inki did tap into Africa, all right, and then also South America, you see different things, he still didn't have dominion over them because they were already there, established. He was given dominion over part of Mesopotamia. All right. And some of the beings under him were mixed with African, such as Nimrod. All right. So now you see that there were 4. It was dividing into 4. All right. So this is the Sumer in the land of Mesopotamia, Persia, of the Euphrates and the Tigris River, feeding into the Persian Gulf, dividing into 4. Each Anuna was given charge of a land and Makasu people by the Most High Anu. All right. People are still talking about, oh, I need to fall in line with the Most High. That already is dating them, letting me know that they still back in Sumeria. All right. Because he's going to say, well, the Most High, what? All right. So, 348. And they had conflicts between the gods for the land and the Hamam Nadu, humanoids they ruled and who served them as the only one Gadad or Gadatat, goddess. All right, that those a little spin. So we talk about the men a lot, or the males. Now we know it wasn't just a conflict between the males because we see Gadatat is being put in there as well. So serve the one and only God or goddess. All right. These are just extraterrestrial bloodlines. All right, fighting amongst each other. This is his story, or better, his story, not our story, as Pa Nagad Nadu Salau, the Negro race. And these are the Rananats names of those found in the Torah, the Bible, before it was changed to Hebrew from Sumerian stone tablets. 351, Adam and his consort Titi, or Tit, their son Abiel, was killed by Cain, son of Titi and Enon. All right. So Cain, looks like Titi got 2 baby daddies. All right. So Adam and Titi, and then you have that's their first, that's Abel, and then you have Titi again and Enon. All right, who was the grandson of Enlil. All right, called Yahweh, and Adam and Titi birthed Seth and his consort Azura, that's Elamiah, and then Enshi or Enos, which is the consort of Noam, and Enkim or Enoch, and his consort Indina, and Zuristra or Noah, and his consort as Emzara, and Terhu, or known as also as Terah, and his multiple consorts. All right, so Terah. All right, there's a lot of mixing going on, a lot of things going on. All right, and now you see that they're all fighting over dominion because they each wanted to rule. All right, so those extraterrestrials are fighting amongst themselves. And then down here, things are happening with their genetics and then also the result of their genetics. All right. So one birthed a son Ibrahim or Abram. Another was Anuna, birth of a Sawatat's daughter. Sarah, all right, also known as Sarah. Abraham, also had other consorts. Hakak, Hagar, mother of Ishmael, father of Kedar, and Sarah birthed Isaac, father of Esau or Yitzhak, and his twin Jacob or Jacob. All right, 353. Esau had many consorts, and his Shaubah tribes were the Edomites. All right. So even though you hear Edomites, you hear all these different tribes, you don't be fooled, they're still the same family. All right. And it's a family of a dysfunction. They don't get along. But it's still a family nonetheless. All right. So 354, Yaqub had 4 consorts, and his Sha'abu tribes were Ishwa'ilu, or Israelites. From one was named Yahuda, or Judah, another of the name Lawi, or Levi. And from these two, by his mother at age 12, Mary, and his Katato, physical father. All right. So the mother was 12, all right, when Levi was born. And Joseph was born on April 12th, 6 BCE. Sananda, called Savior Yahshua, the Messiah of the Adamite Moisar family. All right. So Sananda is from their family. Some of us are still reaching out to these spirit forces. You in somebody else's bloodline. All right. So from one of Ishmael's sons, Kedar, was born of his bloodline on 570 AD. Ahmad ben Abd Allah, and his father Abd Allah, and his mother Amina, and the final prophet of the Adamite bloodline, which ended, and then on to the Shamut year 2000, the end of their dominion over all others and their own. All right. So they have no dominion even over themselves. All right. No more dominion. That religious lie is being dispelled. All right. And this Messiah Sananda, called Jesus the Christ, Yeshua, Ha-Mashiach, born of the Levite Mudad Tat's mother Mary and the Judahite Mudad father Yusuf, raised and taught in Tahu Maye Reye, Tamaray, where he first encountered the Maratu women, who was to become his consort Mary from Magdalene in the land of Cush or Ethiopia. And she gave birth to their son called Simeon, Bar Yeshua, or son of Jesus, and a Sawatat's daughter called Sarah Bat Mari, daughter of Mary. And those of the Mosesism looked for the Mashiach of the Christianism. All right. So you know what? We're going to go into that bloodline in our next reading, because we need to focus on that. All right. So yeah, that's a great place for us to stop, because we're going to reread that part again when we go into the tribes. All right. So yes, we're going to end on page 42. All right. So does anybody have anything that they like to say about the scroll so far? Any questions that you might want to put in the back pocket? Even if we don't answer them today, it may be helpful. All right. And then we could also just be taking time to digest the scroll, because it's a lot to take in. So this is a great place for us to wrap up. I appreciate everybody coming together to read our scroll, and Baabaa Yaanun for writing this scroll, and I'll see everybody. Rahubat
Rahul Bezimon. Hey, I just want to tell you, thanks for reading the scroll. I didn't know which one you were reading, but I did saw that you had started the live, and I just hurried up and jumped in. I didn't even check the chat to see which scroll was being read. Okay, okay. So that was has the Maltat for the reading, and is this all of it, or is this all of it, or is you going to read the other half later?
Yeah, we're gonna have to read the other half later. So we're gonna finish it the day after tomorrow. All right. So
Huawei. Tawatat and Maltat for your patience. We appreciate it.
uh
For
appreciate
that
you.
being, yeah, just for doing, because it's not easy to read a whole mitzvah in a day or even read half. So tell us that.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your appreciation because it's needed for us to get these scrolls in, and yeah, so it motivates me to actually read more of them by reading in the platform. So so yeah, anybody else say anything about the scroll at all? We're about halfway through. All right, so we're gonna read the other half, the day after tomorrow. So I appreciate everybody coming together. And we'll see everybody the day after tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Ashok, Moisar, and Wadu.
Wadu.
Anuki, Jawef, Pa Ashok, and Pa Pahut. Wu Kalal, Ashok, Kawun, Jawef, Niya. Anuki, Kasamu, and Pa Pahut. Wu Pa Pahut, Kawun, Kasamu, and Niya. Anuki wahu ame pa pahut. Wu pa pahut kawun wahu ame niya. Nakok kadod naja ame kasam em pa pahut. Wu chabub ame muskas Nakok kado kawan kalal pafef nakok ayo jawef pa pahut. Ame wase ame ayani kawun lake bako jawef papahut. Anuki abed biye nafashni. Papahut kawun anuki. Papahut kador nakuk kador. Papahut amol nakuk amol.